In October 2025, a single press bulletin from a Japanese lab triggered the endgame for fossil fuels. It wasn't a discovery, it was a confirmation. A team of scientists had tamed a star on Earth, holding a plasma cloud at 120 million degrees Celsius for minutes, not milliseconds. Within hours, energy markets convulsed and the world's most powerful industry panicked. This is the story of the breakthrough that just changed everything. Let's delve into it. Breaking point. It happened at 9 o'clock in the morning, Tokyo time. A simple headline from Japan's National Institute for Fusion Science, or NIFS, flashed across global newswires. Japan achieved sustained 120 million degree plasma, record stability confirmed. The statement was precise and left no room for doubt. Inside their Large Helical Device, or LHD, a team led by the renowned physicist Professor Masayuki Yokoyama had held a fusion-ready plasma stable for over 7 minutes. This wasn't just another incremental step, it was a quantum leap that redefined the realm of possibility in energy production. Previous attempts at this scale and temperature lasted mere seconds before the plasma collapsed under its own immense instability. By using a revolutionary AI-driven magnetic control system, they had solved one of the most complex engineering challenges in history, demonstrating a level of control previously thought to be decades away. Analysts at Nomura and Nikki Quick immediately called it the closest humanity had ever come to practical fusion energy. In the space of a single morning, a 40-year scientific marathon had crossed the finish line, forcing the world to confront a new and immediate energy reality. Market panic. The news didn't just hit science desks, it slammed into trading floors like a shockwave. Before lunchtime in Tokyo, the reaction was visceral and immediate. Helical Fusion, a key technology partner for NIFS, saw its stock soar an incredible 23% by the afternoon, close, as investors scrambled for a piece of the new energy future. In stark contrast, shares in legacy utility giants like JERA and Tokyo Electric Power plunged 3% each as investors began to model a future where fossil fuel assets were suddenly obsolete. The Nikkei Energy Index dipped sharply as traders, guided by instant alerts, tried to price in this paradigm shift. The panic was not just in equities. Yields on major utility bonds saw a 7 basis point jump, a clear sign of rising risk and eroding confidence in their long-term business models. Trading volumes in clean energy ETFs spiked 46% in a single day as capital fled from the old and rushed toward the new. As confirmed by energy strategist Kenji Tanaka, the event triggered what the industry had both feared and hoped for, a genuine inflection point that made the promise of fusion a measurable financial risk for the old guard. Inside the control room, what the market saw as a sudden miracle was, in reality, the triumph of a new kind of control. Inside the LHD control room, Professor Masahiro Kuze and his team watched as a digital model of the plasma flickered across dozens of screens. This was the heart of the breakthrough, the system known as digital twin control. For years, engineers had trained this advanced AI, feeding it 2 decades of experimental data from the LHD to recognize the subtle, almost invisible precursors to plasma instability. During the record-setting run, alarms sounded as the plasma edge began to cool, a potential sign of an imminent collapse that would extinguish the reaction. The AI responded in milliseconds, before a human could even process the data, adjusting magnetic field harmonics with surgical precision to restore stability. For the first time, operators weren't just reacting to problems, they were watching a system that could predict and prevent them from ever occurring. The shot log recorded a sustained burn for just over 7 minutes, an order of magnitude longer than any previous attempt at this scale, an eternity in fusion science. This was the moment human expertise and artificial intelligence merged to tame a star. The magnetic bottle. So, to understand this breakthrough, you have to understand the bottle. You just can't hold 120 million degree plasma with any physical material. It would, instantly vaporize. The container has to be made of these immense invisible magnetic fields. The Large Helical Device uses a really unique design for this bottle, known as a Stellarator. Conceived in principle by the brilliant American physicist Lyman Spitzer, a Stellarator uses a complex series of external coils wound into a double helix. This creates a twisting, Mobius strip-like magnetic field that guides the plasma on a stable path, and it does all this without needing the massive internal current required by the more common tokamak design. This inherent stability is what makes the Stellarator ideal for long, continuous operation, which is basically the ultimate goal for a power plant. The LHD's coils, these massive superconducting structures cooled to near absolute zero, have been operating since the late 1990s. The hardware isn't new. The breakthrough, as the current NIFS Director General, Professor Hiroshi Yamada, has long envisioned, was always going to come from mastering the control system. By pairing the LHD's proven stable design with a predictive AI, the team at NIFS created a magnetic bottle that could finally hold its star indefinitely.
For decades of progress.
This October 2025 moment did not happen in a vacuum. It was built on a foundation of methodical, relentless progress stretching back 40 years. Japan's fusion journey began in earnest in 1985 with the launch of the JT-60, a powerful tokamak reactor that became a national flagship project. While that machine pushed the limits of plasma temperature, Japan made a crucial strategic decision to pursue a parallel path and not bet on a single horse. In the late 1990s, under the guidance of visionaries like Dr. Osamu Motojima, they built the Large Helical Device, betting on the long-term stability offered by the Stellarator concept. This dual-track strategy allowed them to master two different approaches to fusion, creating a uniquely robust national expertise. They shared data, personnel, and hard-won lessons between the two distinct projects, creating a feedback loop of innovation. This approach was cemented by a culture of international collaboration, particularly with European labs, that built resilience and trust. This decades-long accumulation of knowledge and a willingness to invest in multiple pathways gave Japan the deep expertise needed to seize the opportunity when their AI control system was finally ready for its historic test.
Fusion fundamentals.
The science behind this breakthrough is both simple and profound. Nuclear fusion is the engine of the universe, the same reaction that powers the sun. It begins by taking two light atoms, usually isotopes of hydrogen called deuterium and tritium, and forcing them to merge. To do this on Earth, you have to heat the fuel to over 100 million degrees Celsius, which is actually far hotter than the sun's core. At these temperatures, the fuel becomes a plasma, an electrically charged cloud of ions and electrons. As NIFS physicist Akio Sagara explains, the challenge is threefold. First, achieve the temperature. Second, confine the unstable plasma long enough for fusion to occur. Third, capture the energy released. The LHD's success was in mastering that second challenge on a game-changing scale. By holding the plasma stable for minutes, they proved that a controlled, net-positive fusion reaction is no longer just theoretical. Unlike nuclear fission, fusion produces almost no long-lived radioactive waste, and a meltdown is physically impossible. If control is lost, the reaction simply stops, making it inherently safe. This is the promise of clean, safe, virtually limitless energy.
Financial shockwaves.
Beyond the initial market panic, deeper financial shockwaves began to ripple through the energy industry. Within days, the conversation in corporate boardrooms shifted from abstract risk to, well, active mitigation. A widely circulated analyst note from Nomura warned that if fusion scaled, by 2035, legacy fossil fuel generation could lose up to 40% of its market share, rendering billions in assets worthless. CEOs from Japan's 10 major electric power companies convened an emergency meeting with the Federation of Electric Power Companies. By the end of the week, the association had filed a formal request to the Ministry of Economy, Trade, and Industry for market stability and reliability measures. Their filings used new language, citing fusion disruption risk and the urgent need for orderly asset retirement frameworks to manage the transition away from coal and gas. Fossil fuel trade groups submitted parallel petitions calling for government consultation. As confirmed by Taka Nagao, the CEO of the fusion startup Kyoto Fusioneering, this event forced the entire industry to confront the reality of stranded assets, accelerating a strategic shift that had been decades away just a week earlier.
Leading the charge.
At the center of this new energy paradigm stands Professor Masayuki Yokoyama and his team at the National Institute for Fusion Science. His name now appears on the papers that are, honestly, redefining the world's energy roadmap. For years, Yokoyama and his colleagues have published research arguing that the LHD's Stellarator design, when paired with intelligent, adaptive control, was the most direct path to a commercial fusion power plant. Their October 2025 achievement was the ultimate validation of that belief, a culmination of a career dedicated to mastering helical plasma physics. According to Yokoyama's statements, the experimental evidence now proves that plasma stability can be maintained well beyond classical limits, with AI acting as the indispensable pilot. This success has galvanized Japan's entire fusion ecosystem and positioned his AI-driven control system as the potential global standard. The Japan Fusion Energy Industry Council, or J-Fusion, immediately began coordinating with private industry to map out a supply chain for the coming demonstration reactors. The breakthrough wasn't just a scientific victory, it established Japan as the undisputed leader of the charge.
Government response.
The Japanese government's response was swift and decisive, reflecting years of strategic preparation. The Ministry of Economy, Trade and Industry, or METI, convened an emergency working group before the day was out. This group brought together thermal power operators, grid planners, and fusion advocates to assess the strategic implications of the LHD's success. This wasn't a debate about science, it was a planning session for a revolution. Lobbying registrations from fossil fuel associations appeared in government filings that same day, all citing fusion disruption risk. Within 48 hours, METI's working group, advised by top scientists like Shinichi Ishida from the QST Institute, recommended that the Prime Minister's Cabinet Office immediately accelerate the National Fusion Energy Innovation Strategy. The original plan, which aimed for a demonstration reactor in the late 2030s, was now seen as too conservative and was officially put under review for a much earlier target. Draft frameworks for licensing and grid integration were fast-tracked. Japan was officially moving from research to industrialization at a pace the world had not anticipated.
The path forward.
The October 2025 breakthrough answered the biggest question in fusion science. Can a star be tamed and controlled? Now, the path forward is about engineering, materials science, and industrial scale-up. The immediate next step for the team at NIFS is to replicate the 7-minute run and push the duration even longer, aiming for true steady-state operation. This will generate the terabytes of data needed to design a commercial-grade reactor. This data will be shared with their partners at the JT60SA Tokamak project, where leaders like Sam Davis will integrate the AI control insights to advance that design as well, leveraging Japan's dual-track expertise. The government and J-Fusion are now laser-focused on building Demo, a demonstration power plant that will be the first to connect a fusion reactor to the electric grid. The biggest challenge is no longer the core physics, it's about building the international agreements and regulatory frameworks to license this new technology globally. Japan's AI-driven helical confinement system is now the world's most valuable energy patent, and the race to build the first fusion-powered city has officially begun. In October 2025, Japan moved the dream of limitless clean energy from the distant future to the immediate present. The achievement at the Large Helical Device was not just a record, it was a starting pistol for a new global energy race. Critical questions about cost, scale, and regulation remain, but the fundamental scientific barrier has been broken. The world's path to a post-fossil fuel future is now tangible, and it is being drawn in real time by the scientists and engineers who just proved that we can, in fact, build a star on Earth. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more deep dives into the science that is shaping our future. Thanks for watching Future Facts.